Hello everyone, I'm so excited to be back with you. I'm Mrs. Green, and for today's lesson we are going to be looking at an artist named Louise Bourgeois. She was born in France but lived in New York and created art in New York, and she's most famous for her spiders. She created them when she was 80, so she was working for a very, very long time. And these spiders are so huge that they fill an entire room. Like they almost to the ceiling of a really tall, high building. So they're huge spiders. And some of them are out in gardens. I've seen them. I got to walk around with one. They're amazing. They're giant and they're black and they're made out of metal. If you want to see her spiders and look at some more of her work, you can go ahead and check out the link below, and you can learn a lot more about her. But you might be wondering, why spider? Why a giant spider? Well, she called these spiders Mama, and they were inspired by her mother. They were actually kind of what we would call a symbol. And if you don't know what a symbol is something that stands for another thing. So like when you see a heart, you know that means love. It's a symbol. This spider is for her symbol for her mother, and that's because her mother was a weaver, and as we all know, spiders do a lot of weaving. And her mother was very clever, as are spiders. And one other thing, her spiders are what we call a beneficial bug. They're beneficial because they kill insects that we don't like mosquitoes who carry disease. And so therefore they're beneficial, and they're also protective. So maybe the next time you look at a spider, you might want to think of those beautiful aspects about them. Today we're not going to be making our spider out of metal. We are going to be using a small rock, and twisty ties. You're going to need 9 twisty ties, because spiders have how many legs? Yes, they have 8. And then I'm going to use another twisty tie to help secure the legs to the rock. So I'm going to show you the process on how you're going to make yours. If you don't happen to have 9 twisty ties lying around, maybe you have some neighbor that does, that'll let you borrow some, or you can try using twigs and glue. They're just not as flexible, and she had a lot of texture in her spider legs, so when you go and check out her work, you'll see it. The twisty ties kind of mimic that kind of texture, because you see how it's got this rough, bumpy texture. So anyway, let me show you how this is done. All right, so I hope you've had a chance to look at Louise Bourgeois's work and check out her Mama spiders. If you haven't, I really hope you will. They're worth looking at. They're really fun to see, and you're going to be amazed. So I have my 2 sets of legs. So I have 4 pipe cleaners on each side, and I have this super long one that I was lucky enough to get. I'm going to use that one as my base. That's my 9th one. If you don't have a long one and you only have short ones, and your rock is too big for them, you can also use a rubber band. And you can just take the rubber band and twist it. Make sure you're crisscrossing it when you twist it around the rock. And you want to go through that the thickest part of the rock. And you can do that as your base. But since I have a long twisty tie, I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to start with it in the center, and I'm doing it at a diagonal, and I'm going to bring them up, and then I'm going to crisscross them through that fat part. And you want to keep this pretty tight as you can make it. So see how I crisscrossed it there? And then I'm going to wrap it back around to this side, and I'm going to see this little end. I'm going to tuck that end underneath if I can. And if you can't, don't worry about it. It'll hold. And then I'm going to tuck this one around the other side. So now I have my base. So now I can attach this, and actually I'm going to not tuck these in because I think it's going to make it easier to attach my legs. if it's not. But you notice this is a two-hand job. You need both hands with this. One hand holds the rock and is going to be holding our base in place. The other hand is doing all the twisting and tying. So this would be the hand that you write with. So whichever hand you write with, that's the one that's going to be doing all the leg attachments. The other one's job is to hold everybody in place, keep them strong. So I'm going to start by attaching my legs. And I'm going to start with the green one, and I'm just going to slide it under here. You notice it's a little harder because this end is a little bumpy like this. If you have ones that have flat ends like these, those are the easier ones to get in, but you can still do it. It just takes a little patience and it takes a little bit of coordination, but you'll get it. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it around, and so I didn't take it out for very long. And then I pinched it and I'm twisting it. We want to keep in mind that we're making a sculpture, and sculptures are a three-dimensional form of art, right? You can walk all the way around them. They have height, they have width, they have depth, and so you want to make sure that they're interesting no matter where you're looking at them. So it's different than our two-dimensional things that we usually make that are flat, like your paintings and your drawings and your coloring book pages. Okay, I'm going to flatten this part out, and I'm going to actually attach this one to the same one because they're twisty ties. They can go in different directions. So you can use one, you can fit two on one. And I'm using my thumb to make sure that it goes up. So see, my thumb, it's going up against my thumb. And then I'm going to pinch and twist. Pinch and twist. Okay, and I remember, you see it gets a little slidey, so that's why this hand's really important. In the end it will stay, but you just need to be patient with it. Okay, so now I have this one, and I'm going to put this one on the other one. This one that's next door. Okay. So I'm going to slide it under, and this one's going to be a little more tricky because it's not so flat, right? If it gets too tricky, you can try and flatten it with your fingers like this. Okay, and I'm sliding it under, and remember I'm using my thumb to make sure it helps to make it go back up again, usually anyway. And again, sometimes it doesn't like going in that direction. So then I'm going to try going from the other side. Flatten it out again. And I'm going to slide it under like that. And you see how I'm still holding it secure with my other hand? And it's helping me. Those two hands are better than one. Okay, slide that back. And then I'm going to twist and turn. Twist and turn. So now I have three legs. I know they don't look really much like legs right now, but they will in the end, I promise. Okay, so we got one more for this side. So I'm going to slide that one under here. Okay, so let me see. Again, ooh, that went 5, good. Okay, this time I don't have my thumb on that side, so I'm going to have to use my other finger to do that. So there's two ways of doing that. Okay, and I'm going to twist, twist. And then every once in a while you might have to just like slide your base back in place because we're pushing against it too at the same time. All right, so I have 4 legs on one side. I don't want that leg on that side. Okay, and you may have 5 different colors for your legs, which would be even better. You have like a rainbow spider. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my green next to my green. So, and then this is that end piece. I'm going to scooch it over here. I'm going to get that one under. Sometimes you may have to just like kind of lift up a little bit so it loosens it. Okay, there we go. That one in. See, I made the, just loosening it just a teeny tiny though. Okay, and I'm still holding it in place with my other hand. Okay, and this one's going to be a little harder, so I'm going to put it under here. Okay. Okay. So your other hand is your friend. It's really, really, really important. Helps hold everybody where they belong. We're not worrying about where our legs are right now. We just want to get them on there. Okay, so I'm going to put these two on this one. And again, I'm looking for that flat part. This flat part is so much easier to get under. So when you're lucky enough to have one with a nice flat edge like that, so much easier. Okay, see my thumb was helping me on that side, my finger helped me on the other. Okay, and twist. And if they're not all exactly the same length, we're not going to worry about that. Just try and get them close. Oh, and this one, the end stripped off, so there's that wire. That'll be easy to get under. Just be really careful not to poke yourself. No pokies. Okay. And I'm going to fold it and twist. Still works the same, and you don't see the wire anymore. But again, just be really, if you come across one like that, just be super careful not to poke yourself. And then if it's a little floppy like this one is, keep twisting it until it doesn't flop anymore. Okay. All right, now that we have all of our legs in place, I'm going to decide which one is going to be the top. I think we're going to go this way with it. You can look at them on both sides and decide which one you want to be the top of your spider. Okay, and I want this one over here and that one over there. Okay, so now I'm going to make them into legs. So you want your legs pointing up on the top here. So I'm going to make a little pinch, and I'm just going to use my pointy finger and my thumb. I'm going to go put them between there, and then I have my other finger next to it to bend it, and then I'm going to give it a pinch. And then I'm just going to pinch it between my fingers like this on the bottom. So now I have the joint and I have a foot. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to pinch in the middle, and then pinch at the bottom for a foot. Pinch in the middle. Pinch on the bottom for the foot, pinch in the middle, pinch at the bottom for a foot, and you see how you can start to see spider legs coming up? And I'm going to pinch in the middle, pinch in the bottom of the foot. And if you make a foot that's really long, that's okay too. Okay, so I'm going to make pinch in the middle, pinch at the bottom, pinch in the middle, pinch at the bottom, pinch in the middle, pinch at the bottom. Okay, and remember it's a sculpture, so it should stand free. So I should be able to put it down, and it stands up on its own. And you know, sometimes you have to, and then I get to rearrange the legs. Like this leg's looking a little sad over there, so I'm going to move it over. And this leg's not quite down, so I'm going to pinch it down a little more. This one wants to go over there, okay. And then I'm going to change this one. So because there's a wire in there, I can reconfigure it until I have my spider exactly where I want it to be. And look, he's standing up all by himself. And he is creating all these wonderful shadows, which are fun to look at. And I can keep playing with the legs until I have them exactly where I want them. You can have one leg going back, because maybe he's going to start walking. Make one for them. So you can kind of play around with it a little bit. But you want it to look good from every angle. So I'm turning it around. So I think I want this part to come back a little more. So see, I can scooch that back. So you can rearrange it a little bit. Okay, and you want to find that balance so it's standing freely. Oh, and I want it to stand, if you want to stand it a little taller, I'm going to make these come up a little more. You know, I can get my finger under there. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's how you make your spider. So you guys can go ahead and hit the pause button. Go ahead and have fun making your spider, and then come back and see me when you're done. All right, well, I hope you had a lot of fun creating your spiders. So now I want you to talk to somebody in your household or write down, was it hard for you to get your spider to balance, to stand up on its own, or was that easy for you? And what were your challenges with that, getting it to stand on its own? And what did you learn about using twisty ties as an art medium? How is that different? How did that change? Remember when we used things from nature last time to make our ephemeral work? Now we're just bringing one element of nature in. So how is that different? And what are you going to make next? You're going to make a beetle? You can make a butterfly? What are you going to do? So happy art making, stay safe, and I will see you next time.